This is That Guy Jig Sports Podcast. I am him, JIG. Subscribe, rate, and review Amazon, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. Check us out. And don't forget about the Instagram at That Guy Jig. But we are in round 2 of the NBA playoffs. It's round 2. Round 1 is settled. The losers are on their way home, while the winners are trying to go chase immortality. Now you only need 12 wins. You've gotten 4 wins to get to this point. Remember, it's the race to 16. The race to 16 is what we are on. But before we get on that race, we're going to talk about the Lakers for a second. They fired their head coach, Darvin Ham. They're going into an offseason that's going to be a rebuild. D'Angelo Russell is expected to opt out. Austin Reeves probably will not be a part of this team. This team will look very differently. The players that are surrounding LeBron James and Anthony Davis should be very different. The Lakers tried very, very hard, supposedly, air quotations, to make some trades during the deadline. They were unable to do it. The offseason will come around. They'll have 3 potential first-round draft picks, so they'll have a little more assets. They'll have a little more They'll have a little more pumpernickel to maybe go out there and find a baker to bake the shit. Because right now, the way this team is constructed, we know it's not going to be enough. Another first-round exit. You done fired your head coach. Now you're out there searching. You are looking for a head coach. They've been linked to Jason Kidd, but then Jason Kidd turns around and signs a new contract with the Mavericks. The Celtics assistant coach is what Bleacher Report reported on. Anthony Davis is supposed to have an input. LeBron James probably will have an input, if not be the damn coach himself. It's going to be an interesting situation in LA. Because if you go across town to the Clippers, they too are in an interesting offseason. Paul George has not been re-signed. He's expected to be pursued by numerous teams. One of these teams being the 76ers. Because they are another team that changes on the way. They had a guy named Tobias Harris that in a closeout game played 42 minutes or 35 minutes, whatever, went 0 for 2. He went 0 for, he didn't score a single bucket, but he only shot the ball 2 times is the problem. Which means you were ineffective, which means you gave up offensively, which means we cannot have you here. Good luck in Charlotte. Good luck in Charlotte. Bring in Miles Bridges. Now, here's a guy that can do something for you defensively and offensively. He can do what Tobias Harris could not. And I can guarantee you Miles Bridges in a closeout game will not get you 0 points and only shoot the ball 2 times. You gave up. You effectively gave up and let your team down. Now, I've told you that Philly was not going to be successful, but they had a good chance. Joel Embiid showed a lot of grit. He showed a lot of it, man. He battled through. Tyrese Maxey showed you that you can build around this guy. But what we can't have is Tobias Harris walking back into that locker room next year. Training camp, this guy should be in Charlotte. He should be in San Antonio. Meaning, just get him the hell out of here. The Phoenix Suns are another team that have decisions. Bradley Beal had a terrible closeout game. You know you got Kevin Durant, and you know you got Devin Booker. Kevin Durant comes out publicly through sources. You know how today's NBA is. But sources say Kevin Durant never felt comfortable in this offense, playing along Devin Booker and Bradley Beal. There's not enough balls to go around that court. You have too many guys that are too ball dominant. Now Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, that can work. That can work. Now, Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal and Devin Booker, that so far in this experiment cannot work. Because Bradley Beal needs the ball to score. He's a mid-range guy. I hate to tell you this, but if you're not posting, how are you getting to the mid-range? Dribble pull-up. Isolation. One-on-one. I'm better than you. That is how you're getting it. But when you don't have the ball in your hand, when Devin Booker's initiating the offense, it's a different role for him. And I know he came off of, when John Wall was there, he kind of was in a similar situation. But when you look at how that team played up and down, fast, let's run, fuck defense. Frank Vogel likes defense. That team in Washington did not. So what I like to see is I like to see teams make moves. This offseason in the NBA is going to be very, very explosive. I think this will be one of the most explosive off seasons we've seen in a long time because LeBron James, at this point in his career, has to get another championship. He doesn't have his window is closing. Right now the homeowner's going around, Father Time. He's going around and he's locking up all the windows. He's shutting all the windows. There's about 3 windows left. The Lakers have already sucked about 6 of them closed. So this is the last hoorah for LeBron. So when you rebuild this team, if you're LA, not only do you rebuild this team around LeBron, but you also have to rebuild it around the future around AD. But enough of all this offseason because there's teams that are still in. There's teams that are still striving for greatness. And we're going to start in the Western Conference. Thunder and the Mavericks. This is going to be a good series. You got the Thunder. And let's see, for me, the key to this series is can the Thunder find another second option that is somewhat, that can get you 18 points, 15 to 18 a game. Because with the Mavericks, you know what Luka and Kyrie are going to do. Kyrie is 13-0 in closeout games. So if he gets you on the ropes, he's going to knock you out. The Thunder ran through the Pelicans. But I don't know if the Pelicans are that bad without Zion or are the Thunder that good. CJ McCollum shot terrible. Brandon Ingram shot terrible. And I'm here to tell you, if you think the NBA is going to allow Lou Dort to guard Luka Doncic like that, you have another thing coming. He's going to foul out. There's a couple times in that series where you saw Lou Dort playing amazing defense, but he was in the landing space. How the fouls weren't called, I don't know. I do not know. But I'm telling you right now, he is not going to be allowed to guard Luka like that. It's just not going to happen. I like the Mavericks in this series. I like the Mavericks. Listen, OKC's dangerous. This Thunder team is dangerous. And if they can find them a consistent, reliable number 2 option, this year, this team's going to be great. And this team has a chance to make a run. The Mavericks have 2 good post players, athletic bigs. For the Mavericks, it comes down to can the other guys continue to show up? Can Jones keep showing up? Can Hardaway keep showing up? These are the questions that need. Can PJ Washington continue to keep playing great? These are the questions that need answers. This is going to be a good series. I think both series in the Western Conference have a chance to go 7 games. I think both games in the Western Conference have a chance to go 7 games. Because when you look at Minnesota versus Denver now, when we look at this series with Minnesota already splitting the games in Denver, they already split. So it's 1-1. And the season series was a split too. Here's the thing. Minnesota has a lot of bigs to throw at Jokic. And I think that this matchup in particular is going to show Denver's lack of depth. Where Minnesota has Naz Reid, where Minnesota has Kyle Anderson, Denver has Peyton Watson. Denver has Christian Braun. Now, these are guys that are solid players. These are solid options you would love to have on your team. These are great options, but these aren't the options. And when you're talking about second units, Naz Reid is 6th man of the year. And he showed you that last game coming through with 14, or I think it was 14 in the 4th. So my point of all this is like I've said all year, the Minnesota Timberwolves are a team to be reckoned with. Because of their size, because of their length, and because of their athleticism. When healthy, this team is a force to be reckoned with. Now, I do believe Denver will probably win the next game at home, get the split. They will split it and go to Minnesota, where it will be a raucous madhouse. It will be an absolute madhouse. But remember, Denver is the world champions, folks. They are the world champions, and they have a starting 5 that's played a lot of basketball together. So this is nothing more than another day in the office for them. When we think about it, we haven't seen this team trail in a series in 2 years. Maybe this is the time where they wake the hell up because it's been the slow starts for Denver. It's been the slow starts for Denver, and the heroic shooting has to come on late. You have to start fast. Anthony Edwards started off with 12 quick points in the first quarter. You need someone to pick that up. You need someone to get that edge, because something's got to give. I don't expect Anthony Edwards to go for 40 every game, but I do expect him to put his team in a position to win. So look out for the Timberwolves. I wouldn't be surprised. Listen to me. I would not be surprised if Rudy Gobert is playing tonight. There is a chance he misses the game because of his firstborn child. Remember, you only get one, and these guys are human still. So congratulations to Rudy Gobert. But don't forget, I still remember that you're the reason why the NBA shut down for COVID. Now, I know it's not clearly his fault, but I'm saying he made it happen a lot faster than when it needed to. Moving out east, Pacers and Knicks, they tip off tonight. This one right here, I have the Knicks going to the Eastern Conference Finals, and I'm very vocal about that. I'm very vocal about my go New York, go New York, go. I'm very vocal. I like this team, but this Pacers team can score, folks. This Pacers team can score. I told you they were going to beat the Bucks with or without Giannis. Giannis did not play that series, and they did just that. It would have happened had he played. But what I am for sure is going to happen, this is another series. They can probably go 6 games. This is going to be a longer series just because you have the clash of two different sides. You have a team that wants to get up and down and run, and you have a team that wants to slow it down and kind of just grind you out. But when it comes down to it, these games are going to be high rolling. They're going to be explosive, and there's going to be a lot of points because the Pacers play no defense. The Pacers play no defense. If I'm putting in player props, I might put in player props for Miles Turner tonight, especially on the over for points. Miles Turner's versus these big men in New York. He's going to have a field day. Tyrese Halliburton's going to be able to set him up. It's going to be a good series. Tyrese Halliburton versus Jalen Brunson, who is my most improved. I understand what Tyrese Maxey did, but guess what? My guy still won. Jalen Brunson is moving on to the next round, and he's probably the sole reason why the New York Knicks are in the position that they are in. So that's why I'm so big on Jalen Brunson should have won most improved. To me, it was no contest. But keep going, Jalen. Prove it. Prove it to them all. But yes, like I said, I have the Knicks overall going to the Eastern Conference Finals. This is a team that I think with the matchups, this is going to be a tough one because how many points the Pacers can score and how many different ways they can come at you. And without Julius Randle, Pascal Siakam is going to be the X factor because we know what Jalen Brunson can do. But like I said, Miles Turner is going to have a good series, but Pascal Siakam, if he can give you 20 a game, you're going to be in trouble if you're a Knick. Just because, like I said, the Pacers, they shoot good threes, they run, they rebound, and they don't play no defense because they don't care about it because they're going to score points. They're going to put up points. Your job as the Knicks is to slow that down. I know that sounds pretty elementary, but I'm talking about slow it down because you can't stop it unless they just go cold one game, which is possible because they are human. But I'm still sticking on my train. The New York Knicks. Knicks all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. Now the other game, we got the Celtics and Cavaliers. Now the Cavaliers just came off a 7-game series. They go on the road to Boston. Boston's been well rested. Now this game 1 is very crucial. Boston's 11-point favorite right now. So this is a big game. I'm going to tell you why. Boston's been on a break and Cleveland just played. And if you can get any game if you're Cleveland, it's going to be that first one when you're somewhat floor ready, and they may be more fresh than you and may not be fatigued. But at the end of the day, they haven't played in a game in a long time for the playoffs. So look for the Cleveland Cavaliers to steal game 1. Donovan Mitchell is a walking bucket. It's the other guys. And without Kristaps Porzingis, Evan Mobley should have a very good series. Jared Allen should have a good series on the boards. Darius Garland should be able to find Max Strus for threes. This is going to be a lot closer of a series than the quote air quotation experts want you to believe. You do not have Kristaps Porzingis for several games. If Cleveland can come in there, and like I said, they are well rested, these Celtics. So they have not played. Cleveland just came off a 7-game series. I like them in game 1, especially to cover 11 points. JB Bickerstaff is on the radar for the Lakers job. And I would say this, if the Lakers were to get him, I could see Donovan Mitchell joining them. Donovan Mitchell will find his way to another team. He's tired of losing, he says. Well, we're about to figure out how tired you are because this series should be a good one. Overall, we have 4 good series. Overall, both sides. I think this is a very action-packed, a very tight playoffs. I don't think any of these games are going to be blowouts. If there's blowouts, that means the team just stunk it up. They just stunk it up. But you have all the best teams that are supposed to be here are here. And I say that because the Clippers all year long showed us that they weren't one of the best teams. The Suns all year long showed us they weren't one of the best teams. The Lakers, and so did the Bucks. Especially since they traded for Dame. They were doing their thing somewhat. But really, once the Doc Rivers saga comes, you fire Adrian Griffin. It was a shit show for the Milwaukee Bucks. But overall, I think this is going to be a very good playoffs. I could see most of these series going 6 games. I don't see any sweeps. If there's going to be a sweep, it will be the Celtics and Cavs. Because the Celtics will just steamroll them. The Celtics will just steamroll them, right? But this is That Guy Jig Sports Podcast. I am him, JIG. Subscribe, rate, and review. And tell a friend to tell a friend. And we can all be friends. Make sure you follow the Instagram. And here we go. Once again, NBA playoffs. But this is him, JIG. Thanks for listening. Peace.